You are listening to the CittaCalcioUsa show, the only news and podcast in English about AS Cittadella. Hello everyone, welcome back to the CittaCalcioUsa show, episode number 159, coming to you on Tuesday, February 4th. Cittadella 2-0 loss against Spezia on the weekend, outplayed by Spezia, by the third place team in Serie B. Too much to overcome in the first half deficit, which saw the Aquiles score 2 goals, which was enough for a 2-0 loss. We've got a lot of market news. The market officially closed yesterday, and Cittadella, time to assess how well they did. They got some new signings, new attacking defense, midfield. We're going to be talking about that. And then on to this weekend against Pisa, the Disogus Derby, as I was referring to, as Cittadella looked to get some revenge from that 3-0 at Savellino result earlier this season. Sorry. To help me, we are glad to have him back. This is now, I believe, the third time he is on this podcast. We had him back when Alessandro Del Canto was just about to begin his tenure at Cittadella, just after Guarini was sacked in October. Please welcome back Enrico Leo from Gazzetta and PadovaOggi. Enrico, how are you?
I'm a pleasure to stay here. Jack, and yeah, I'm very good. I'm feeling very good now. So when I talk about football and about Cittadella, for me, it's perfect.
Yeah, we're happy to have you back. You're, all the stuff you do for PadovaOggi, Gazzetta, for the writing, you know your stuff, and that's why I wanted to have you, because there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of, as you know, Cittadella making 2 deadline day moves on the decision, as well as some departures as well. So how about we get right into this first part of this podcast I want to talk about is the transfer market. So the window is shut for Cittadella making 5 official signings. Orji Cuonco earlier, Cardinali, the goalkeeper, Emanuele Mattino, and the return, most prominent, of Davide Dio after 5 years, as well as Riccardo Palmieri from Caradese, as well as the departures. As terms of that, we have Claudio Cassano, which should be official soon for the Chicago Fire. Simone Branca, that's a big one, to Milan Futuro. Branca leaving after, 7 years at Cittadella. Andrea Magrassi as well to Milan Futuro, and Mario Ravasio leaving as well. So, Enrico, I want to first tell you, there's a lot of, I just threw a lot of information there right now, but, this was a window where we knew Cittadella had to do something, because we knew, yes, Cittadella were entering January off the 3 straight wins with Gianni Sutro, Palermo. There was a lot of, I don't know if that maybe changed Marchetti's mind, because prior to that, they were bottom, they were needing of something. So how do you see this market from Cittadella, and did they ultimately do enough?
Well, for me, if it's not a mini revolution, it's close calls, because we have a lot of sensational returns or unexpected and sometimes painful departures. So let's say that nothing has really been lacking in this market. The Cittadella that is about to live in next 4 months and goes in the hunt for salvation is a roster changing in physiognomy and soul, in my opinion. Because after the immobility of the 2024 winter session, this time the Direttore Generale Marchetti decided for the swerve. So I don't know, Jack, where do you want us to start? About sale of Branca, returns of Okuwonko, on Davide Dio?
Yeah, let's start with the good side of this. You have to say, like, incoming arrivals. Yes.
Okay. In a temporal order, so with Okuwonko.
Yeah. Well, Okuwonko, we were talking, that happened earlier this month, but more specifically, Davide Dio, who came just yesterday.
Well, about Okwonko, I just tell you about something that because in these first appearances between Mantova, Cosenza, and the starting pitch against Spezia, it became evident that the player needs to regain some confidence with the pitch and the match rhythm. So it's a gamble all the way around the region. So
Exactly.
it's very clear. About Joe, well, Sunday 2 February, Joe was closing a negotiation with Silvio Sbaldini, coach of Pescara in third division of the league, Girone B. And about 12 o'clock or 1 p.m. o'clock, Marchetti called him, and well, about this moment, Davide Dio returning Cittadella. Marchetti with 3 or 5 words has convinced Davide Dio after years between Pordenone, Monza, Vicenza, Modena, and Bari. Here we are this return of 1992 class. So I remember in 2019, 2020, he had sparkled with 15 goals, but
Yes.
but now he's back from some career lapses because, for example, last year of Bari in Modena, he scored 10 goals, if I remember correct. So the unknowns about him are only related to his physical condition. So, and he hasn't played an official match for more than 8 or 9 months because the last matches he played was in May of 2024.
Yeah, against
So
right here with Bari against Cremonese in April.
Yeah, in April. So for we can put it this way, in my opinion, from the fitness of Okonkwo and Gio past the salvation hopes of Dal Canto's team. That's finally, because if they are both well physically and emotionally, also taking into account, because for example, Pandolfi seems to have a little problem of pubalgia, a little problem of the pubis problem. So the changes of salvation increase tremendously. So, in my opinion, it depends only about fitness of Okonkwo and Joe, and particularly about Joe, because Joe is a great player with an incredible physician role, with incredible physician proposition on the pitch. So it must be good about fitness, Joe. So because the technical quality are not in discussion.
Yeah, and with Dio, like I think since he left in 2020, Cittadella really missed that real number 9 striker, a bomber, as they say in Italian. Maybe I mean you had Pitarello, you had Pandolfi, but a guy that could give you above 10 goal season. I think that's what was Cittadella was really missing since he left in 2020. Palmieri is an interesting one because this was announced just a little after Simone Branca moved to Milan Futuro, which we'll get into in a little bit. But Palmieri, I was actually looking in, coming from Carrarese, he actually did play for quite a bit against Cittadella back in October, which I mean, I don't know, maybe that kind of put him on the radar, Marchetti's radar for that. But
Well,
yeah, if you want to talk a little bit about Palmieri and what you see in that signing.
I don't know because about Palmieri. About Palmieri is the bet, obviously, because called upon to make Simones Branca forget is not very simple, is not very clear. And but about Branca we will return later. For Palmieri is not played so much at Carrarese, barely 9 games. I think 9 appearances, including Coppa Italia, in the August. But he played in the 3-0 loss last October against Cittadella, and he had played without leaving too many traces in the third quarter. But Palmieri is a complete midfielder. It's different about Branca because Palmieri is a bit of back or a bit trequartista. Is left-footed, as so Del Canto likes, also capable of playing as director. So is very not a typical Cittadella's player who run very much or have a very intensity about that. So, in my opinion, let's say that's a fairly unique profile arrives at Del Canto disposal because who was played repeats at halfback or in trequartista or in the front of the fence. So, in my opinion, he's very complete midfielder. Well, I don't know if he's the maybe the deportation about him, but I think was very utility player in these 4 months because he's a multitasking midfielder. So maybe his contribution will be seen very well and very clear.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. It's now Cittadella has a midfield. You got Tronchini, you got Casolari, you got
but
Amatucci.
It's a different. It's like two muscular play, not Casolari, but Tronchini, Amatucci are very muscular midfielder with a lot of muscle, a lot of run, a lot of reaction, but not very. They have a different quality on the pitch, not the technical quality. So it's different. It's a different role player. It's different player Palmieri than Matucci or Tronchini, and seems bits like Casolari. It's totally different. Casolari, it's well, like that, it's a little Pirlo for Cittadella because he's a typical regista in the front of the fence with a great pass, with a lot of idea, who's seen the play, who's seen the game. One second before the rivals, so it's an incredible player. Casolari is I think it's one of the most important acquisition of market since 5 or 6 years, in my opinion, because it's probably Casolari maybe who is a generational player, maybe will be a generational player for Cittadella if we stay a lot of season, but maybe it's probably Casolari in the next summer or in the summer of 2026, maybe gone out about Cittadella because, for example, in this market, in this winter section, for example, Palermo needs information about Casolari. Talk about him, not with Cittadella, but with his agent. So Casolari, it's incredible quality. It's very strong player, and I don't know if we have this very lucky situation to see him for another season. I don't know if it's possible, but
I didn't know that that he was, there was some discussion or contact with Palermo. That was
it's like a behind the curtains of this winter market. It's a little bit news for your podcast.
Oh wow! Well, there you go. There you have it exclusively on
it's a little bit
USA show. And Palermo just signing Poyampalo from Venezia. That's probably one of the biggest pickups in the market throughout the entire of Serie B. Like you said about Casolari, I think it's interesting because we were talking to Carlo Cicino back in August after the Sassuolo game, or it was before the Sassuolo game, I can't remember, but he kind of said he really liked him as a player, and he could honestly maybe be kind of like another Manuel Iori if he continues to stay and integrate into the team. We'll have to see. I don't think he played a particularly good game against Spezia. I think that yellow card really affected him, and obviously coming off in the second half.
Well,
We'll get into the Spezia in a little bit, but just kind of concluding on this market,
yeah,
and kind of concluding. We haven't talked about the departures. Obviously we got Mario Ravasio going to, it was now I can't
Arezzo, in the third division.
For some reason, I was thinking of Foggia for whatever reason, but no, it was Arezzo. Then Andrea Magrassi, the first one, to Milan Futuro. Claudio Cassano, it's not official yet, but it is more than likely.
Is going to Chicago now. Huh? So
yes.
Yesterday flight from to Chicago. So he's very near the official transfer.
Yes, he and the MLS transfer window is still open, and they have their
in April 23rd April, I suppose, if I remember correct.
Something MLS. Enrico, I'll tell you that as an American who also follows MLS, like the MLS rules about roster size, the terms of money they use. It's like a whole. It could be a university course. Let's be honest. That's how confusing it is. But like we said, Claudio Cassano likely to go, or is going to, the Chicago Fire. And the big one that happened yesterday was Simone Branca, the 7th most appeared player for Cittadella, with over 200 appearances, 233, I believe, that I pulled it out. 7th most appearances, signing in 2018. He is being sold to Milan Futuro and joining Magrassi with the team who is currently in Serie C right now. Yeah. It's a tough one because Branca was really that heartbeat of the team for so many years, that really central role. He was the captain, really, alongside co-side, I guess, Licio Vita as well. But how what do you make of this transfer for Branca? And have you talked to Marchetti at all about it? And
Today I talked with Marchetti about this decision, and finally was the concert decision about him and about Simone. Now, a leader who leaves the jersey, that says so. It was a 2 cents, because without the greetings from the former captain to his fans about a long and wonderful love story, I don't know. For me, it was a very, very melancholic hands. I don't know. I have this sensation about this departure, because Branca was a warrior in the middle of the field, was with an indisputed locker room man, captain after Perticone's farewell in the summer of 2023. I don't know. Branca for Cittadella represented for a lot of years personality, sacrifice, leadership, minus a few too, a very hard and hot character in temperance and on the field. But I don't know. For me, I think, I don't know. I just think about his last dance. Only 20 minutes on January 25 against Cosenza. Very great win. Very great one against a rivalry for Salvezza. But I don't know. It was very too fast. Very, very fast, because Thursday we have a firstly informations about Branca near of Milan Futuro, and Friday we have a non-convocation of Dal Canto about the match against Spezia.
That's right.
And I don't know, and about this non-convocation with Diego Zilio, with Carlo Cecchino, and with Simone Prai. We have the principal journalist with who talks about Cittadella. We have just understand because a level of concreteness in this negotiation. I just told you about something that because about this argument because Branca present in the stands.
That's right.
Tombolato during the match with Spezia on Sunday. But I think the decision to leave Cittadella definitely maturated between the night of Saturday nights and the Sunday morning. Is not in this case is not the song Sunday morning, but was the moment to Branca make the decision. Sunday morning was the song about Lurid. Yeah, well, I didn't remember in this moment. Very grateful song. So the medical examination we just had on Monday afternoon in La Clinica Madonnina was the typical clinical to have the medical visit for a Milan football player, and Branca signed the contract on Monday night with Joao Felix and Riccardo Sottile at the same time.
That's quite a crazy thing.
Yeah. I think is another departure because it was one of the symbols of the last years at Tombolato, and just now before the market close, I don't know. We have a lot of coincidence about this departure. One is the rise of Casolari, and another one, I want to tell you the truth, is the feeling that never took off with Del Canto, because with Del Canto something not very good. This is the true story. I just tell you about that. I tell you about that and about Cittadella's fans.
So you think there was just not a good enough relationship between Del Canto and Branca?
No, I think is one of the reasons, not the principal reason, but it's one of the reasons about this separation. In my opinion, because because with Del Canto in the several press conferences, she didn't tell us something like negative about him. Never. So I don't know. So but I imagine for Branca is a new challenge, Milan Futuro, because for him and for his horizon. And in Cittadella, I don't know, because Cittadella, in my opinion, loses a pieces of recent history. So I'm melancholically the departure. I repeat, very melancholic. Departure, but repeat, it's my modest opinion, not about the fans. About the fans, I don't know, because the fans say in these last months. Say me about, oh no, Branca is not too fast like 1 year ago, like 2 years ago. No, it's not efficient like playoffs period or like that. But for another fans, for a majority of fans, say me that Branca is a symbol, is a leadership. When he was stay on the pitch, we we must be safe. With him, we hit him on the pitch. So I don't know. I
think a lot of things we don't know, because maybe some things are internal and that journalists, fans won't know. It's also like you did bring up a good point. In these recent last 2 months or so, Branca hasn't really played the full 90 as much. It's mostly been, Casolari starting and then him getting subbed off in the second half, or vice versa. So I guess you could see something maybe little bit to that, but I guess we won't know. Another interesting thing, or another thing about Branca, is he's actually from Milano. He was born in Busto Arsizio, which is just, I know that town because I got lost in it when I was going to the Malpensa airport. I got off on that train station by accident. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be late for my flight. So yeah, that's maybe, it's probably maybe him going back home, and he gets the train in Milan's facilities, which should be very, very great experience, and trying to help Milan Futuro escape the drop in Serie C. But that's basically the transfer news. That's basically the transfer market for Cittadella. Like we said, some attacking players like Okonkwo and Dio. Defensively, we got Martino, Cardinali as the backup goalkeeper, and Palmieri, which should be the center midfielder, possibly in replacing of Branca. And like we said, going out is Branca, Magrassi, both to Milan Futuro, and Mervasio to Arezzo, and Cassano to the Chicago Fire, which I'm a little happy about because I get to see him play here on Apple TV, and we'll see if he ever comes to LA or I'll be there to see him, because it's quite an interesting transfer, that. But anyway, let's get into the Spezia match this last past Saturday. Go ahead.
If you want, well, about these world markets, I don't know, because this market, finally, it was a rebuilding market for Cittadella, and obviously, even in light of the poor run of the form between October and November. But of course, looking at the rivals for salvation, I can tell you that, for example, Carrarese has been reinforcing a lot with Fiorillo, with Ravaglia, with Melegoni from Genoa, Serie A. Milan Torregrossa as well, Sampdoria and Salernitana. And, for example, Sampdoria, Salernitana, which are not relegation zone teams and will surely go up to the standings. So, I don't know, Südtirol with Ballardinelli and Pitia as well as defenders, Vesely and the ex-Cittadella former Barreca have strengthened a lot. I don't know. For me, it was... we will see what will happen, because maybe this league in this season was very open to every pronostically, with a lot of sensation, because I don't know, Cittadella is not safe now, in my opinion. It was very, very hard. It's very, very long, and in my opinion, everything will depend on the weather of Dio and Okonkwo. Well, a full-blown gamble. Well, a full-blown gamble in this case, but it's typical. It's typical.
I understand.
It's typical the case in Cittadella.
Yeah. There's still a lot of, like you said, Cittadella, or no one is really safe from relegation apart from, maybe like the top 5 teams right now. But Cittadella, 27 points. They're only 3 points below 8th place Palermo in the playoff spot. And if you could go further, 6 points behind Bari Juve Stabia on 6th and 7th place, and just below them, 2 points below Sampdoria, or above Sampdoria, sorry. And for Salernitana in 18th is 3 points. So, yeah, like you said, lots of seasons to go, or lots of games to go. And it's still far too early to tell what's going to happen. And Cittadella, we knew this was going to be a difficult game against Spezia at home. This was one of the first of 3 really difficult games. They have Spezia, and then on the road against Pisa and Catanzaro, 2 very difficult away trips. One really long away trip down to Calabria on the Friday, on Valentine's Day. Second half was, I think, a little better from Cittadella. Pandolfi, like you said, missed 2 clear opportunities that could have pulled the deficit to within 1 goal. But, on flip side, you could say Spezia missed, 2 chances. Lapadula had won for the
Yeah.
Juve. But like I said before, Casolari, I don't think he was very effective in the yellow card. He got a yellow card 3 minutes into the
Yeah.
game, which I don't know, maybe set off just limited his playing abilities. And at halftime, Cittadella only recorded .13 expected goals, which means they did not look very threatening in the attacking third, which is, correct to the eye test. They were, very limited. But your overall thoughts on the Spezia game?
Well, as I told you before, this team, if they don't think boldly from minutes one, they are in danger and of having first halves like Saturdays. At the first half, that was too much of quit, not so much because there's no forward with Pandolfi, but really because of the attitude, because the team more careful to cover than to restart. Physical overpower by Spezia, which in itself is one of the most physical teams in the league, and if you make them feel what is called in the jargon the smell of blood, no, they come at you with a greater vehemence and competitive ardor. The goals actually came from the two ingenuities finally, because the first goal came from throw-in, which perhaps wasn't heaven there, since there was a probably fall on Capradossi earlier, but at the same time, Salvi's short clearance, the only mistake of his match, of Salvi's match, and the subsequent invasion of Vignali on his third goal in the last two matches. We found yourself down in the 20th minute on the first half, and that is not like you do match go. No, looking for the equalizer, and in the minute 33rd, I remember, it's correct.
Yeah, 33rd.
Yeah, 33rd minutes on Ciccizola deflection, and you went down with Carissoni, who sailed what's in Italian is called an autogollonzo or autogol, okay?
Yeah, own goal.
On goal. Well, in Italian, autogol, or if you want to told you about Jalapas style, a very, very famous TV program of Jalapas band for Italian people, autogollonzo, and with the collaboration of somewhat, I consider it exit by Maniero, of way between going for the ball and staying in the goal. Well, we would perhaps have caught onto unfortunately Carissoni clearance. In the second half, well, yes, with the entry of Pandolfi and the fact that somehow you have to try to come back, things got a little better. But if you think about it, Jake, the game against Spezia, it was very similar match to the one with Mantova, for example. Even against Possantini's man,
Correct.
you have to take 2 goals before you walk up. With Pandolfi on the field, yeah, really, you created more. But the Napolitana striker come close twice to scoring, as did Carissoni. But at the same time, Spezia, we'll talk to you about after, also had the chances to triple with Lapadula, two very big chances. And in the short, in my opinion, the defeat, as much as it was dictated by the episodes, was fair. Because Spezia, when accelerating, in my opinion, Spezia, when accelerating, always get the feeling of creating dangerous actions. And Cittadella managed to do this only in the second half. Poiter will be a team that will return to Dal Canto's topicality. I think that the arrival of Dio, we want to go precisely at this direction of a 3-5-2. But at the same time, now we have to really tough game, because Pisa, it's incredible team, and Catanzaro with Pittarello. And if they keep winning behind, it's the problem. If the behind you, the team start to keep to win. So You have no time to find yourself back in the play-out zone. So this is a very delicate moment, in my opinion, for Cittadella last season.
Exactly.
In fact, I suppose you remember about that in January to 2023. Do you remember?
Yeah,
the first game of the year in Crociato's first game. No,
Pisa
when
won,
it was
Cittadella too.
Yeah, and when it was precisely from the Arena Garibaldi, the salvation ride of the man directed of Gorini, by Gorini started. So I don't know if this Cittadella has the strength to go to Pisa and play it out on equal terms, because at all above, I don't know if Del Canto will set the match, try to play its opening like Gorini in this epoch. So I don't know. I think will be will we see a very difficult match for Cittadella Saturday, because the value of Pisa, it's incredible.
Yeah, I totally agree. Just last thing I want to, kind of say about that, Spezia game was Cittadella. Yeah, like you said, Dal Canto actually said against Cosenza that, he thought the Mantova game was probably one of the best performances he had while he was the coach. Meanwhile, Cosenza, he wasn't as happy, even though the results didn't reflect that. In this half against Spezia, like you said, totally similar to Mantova, where Cittadella kind of have a slow start in the first half, but then sort of wake up in the second when they're trailing by 2 goals and trying to get one back. And that's kind of where the game headed. For Pisa, that's the game coming up on Saturday, February 8th, 3 p.m. Central European Time, 9 a.m. Eastern here on Saturday morning here in the United States. The Settila Arena, or the Arena Garibaldi, as they say in Pisa. Yeah, this is probably one of Cittadella's hardest tasks of the year, is trying to defeat Pisa at home, where they've won 9 games, drawn 3, and they've lost 0 this year. By far the best home team in this. Well, actually, Sassuolo just has 1 more point than them at home, but second best. This is there's a reason why they're second place, is because Pippo Inzaghi. He has really created a really strong team mentality wise. I think is the big one of why they're so good this season. If you recall, this is I've been saying this forever now, but I mean this is really I don't know. Maybe Cittadella has a chip on their shoulder, because, like we said, this is the game in August where Cittadella tied 1-1. Alessio Vita scoring, coming back 1-1 draw, and then days later, a month later, really, the result got overturned 3-0 for Cittadella fielding an ineligible player, which was Jacopo de Sogas in the 71st minute. That turned 1 point into 0 for Cittadella. And for Pisa, you could talk about how that 1 point really makes a difference from Cittadella. It could definitely change the title race, or even the promotion race, because Spezia are currently trailing Pisa by 5 points. That could be 3 points. And Spezia, they're really just 1 game away from taking Pisa's spot. So that 2 points is really, I think that really set a tone for both sets of sides. For Pisa, it kind of made them think like, oh, this was a gift. Now this is really our season. Meanwhile, Cittadella, you could say that was really a mental block for them, because they had that 1 week where they lost against Frosinone, then they had the 3-0 defeat, then they lost 6-1 against Sassuolo, which ultimately led for Gorini to lose his job. But yeah, like you said, I don't know if Cittadella has a kind of a chip on their shoulders just to, prove them wrong. It's going to be a, hostile atmosphere. It always is in Pisa. 10,000 fans.
It's normal. It's normal environment in Pisa. It's normal. It's normal atmosphere.
And yeah, well, just regarding the fact is just that Pisa is one of the best teams in Serie B this season, one of the best teams at home this season. One important absentee in this match will be Lorenzo Carissone. He is out for a yellow card accumulation, so he will miss the match in Pisa, if I'm not mistaken, because he did get a yellow card against Spezia in the last match. Enrico, I want to ask, because I was just talking there for a lot. How do you see this game? Do you think there's a slight sense of revenge for?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, because I can tell you that in the Cittadella household that for Fade didn't really go down, but not least because in August against Inzaghi's boys, you had played the game to a draw. It was a different Cittadella with different technical leadership and all that goes with it. Looking at the opponents, this Pisa has little to change in this winter section, because in the standings, well, we say so, in the shadow of the tower. However, they had the courage and the intelligence to do a real knife walk, because below are all the official purchase like Meister or Solbakken or Ser Nicola or Castellini. Ser Nicola, considering the unavailability of the Tevez, is the best choice for the left out. Meister and Solbakken are two other market ideas coming from North Europe, and for especially Solbakken coming from Slavia Praga, is a player who has made the Champions League. So is someone who in Serie B can make all the difference in the world. Perhaps an element of more experience, particularly up front, will not have a bad idea. Also in light of Bonifanti's departure to Bari, but it's also proved that Pisa's fortunes always pass through the feet of Moreo and Tramoni. So in this game on Saturday, the most important choice is to block Moreo and Tramoni if Tramoni stay healthy. And I don't know, because Pisa, who says after is undefeated at home, just like Spezia, and I repeat, the K-man is Tramoni, and comes from 5 wins and 1 draw in the last 6 games. So they are the team that has scored the most points in the calendar year into 2024 in Serie B with 69 points. So, and in this 2025 have already collected 10 points. So, in my opinion, against Pisa is fundamental. Intensity is priority. Intensity and focus, attention to detail, probably with the key, especially with the 2 forwards on the field, because in my opinion, against Pisa, Dal Canto, I will not be surprised to see Rabbi, for example, again from the first, because he's a striker who sees a little of the goal, but bangs a lot for the team and runs a lot. So we
kind of like
see
Pitarello or Maestrello.
Yeah. Not like Maestrello, is more, it's quite similar than Pitarello. But will we see if that will be the case? In the middle, for example, there will be B2C will be a confidence immediately to the left-hander Palmieri in place of Tronquin. In this first appearance is not very brilliant. And while in defense with Caristone's disqualification, probably for the first minutes, the newly acquired Matino should find space, because it probably is the only option for Dal Canto in defense.
Maybe even Piccinini if he's
but I think Dal Canto he doesn't have a lot of confidence about Piccinini. But it's only my situation, not not the true story. And maybe Jack, I will not be surprised to see a ballot between Maniero and Cardinali, because Maniero against Spezia would take a great save, but not very safely in another situation. So I don't know. In my opinion, we will see to a very interesting ballot about that.
This is also a good time because Castrati is going to be out for probably a month or so with that back injury. And there was that rumor, I forgot where it came from, but it was from a different source that we usually get, was Castrati possibly going to Hellas Verona. I don't know how true that is. It didn't end up happening. Who knows if it could happen in the summer? But we'll have to see. But yeah, that's a good point. Because Cittadella, I don't think they just bought Cardinali just to buy Cardinali. There was definitely something in there for Marchetti. Definitely saw something. But yeah, that's something to look out for. One thing that I noticed, I mean, I don't know if this is quite nonsense or quite kind of silly, but I do keep track of Cittadella when they play every month. Cittadella has not won the second game of the month this year. So this includes so in August, they lost the second match against Salernitana. They lost the second match in September, Mantova. They drew against Cosenza, October. November, lost against Cesena. December, draw against Cremonese. January, loss against Mantova. And now we have Pisa. So if the trend continues, Cittadella is not very good on the second match of the month. So this all indicates that Cittadella will not win in Pisa. But you never know. There's always a first.
Well, we hope to have a great result against Pisa. That's the hope. That's our hope. I suppose.
Yeah. I think Cittadella would definitely take a draw. Out of, if they were giving it to them right now, like a draw.
Like a draw is a golden result. A draw in Pisa is a golden result.
Exactly. So we'll see how the game unfolds here on Saturday, February 8th, 3 p.m. Central European Time, 9 a.m. Eastern Time at the Stadio Arena Garibaldi. The big match, probably Cittadella's biggest road trip yet, or I'd say hardest road trip yet of this season, going away against Pisa, an undefeated Pisa at the Stadio Arena Garibaldi here on Saturday. That's kind of all I have written for my notes for my things that I want to talk about. Enrico, do you have anything else you want to add, or to finish off this episode?
No, yeah. For me, it was a pleasure to talk with you about Cittadella. And now I will write an interview to see in these hours about Marchetti from today, and I keep on to work another half an hour about this interview. So I don't know. Cittadella in this moment is not in a quickly situation, but very delicate situation. Yes, because the calendar wasn't very good, and I don't know. For Cittadella is very important. Emotional impact, emotional state, and very, very important mentality, and the positivity and the positive results about last week's. I've encountered a lot of serendipity. I don't remember the correct words in the group. So now we just attend, but Pisa and Catanzaro is very, very tough game. So we just attend. I think the draw in Pisa or another draw in Catanzaro will be a very platinum result for this Cittadella in this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, they you got to imagine that Sampdoria is going to get out of that relegation zone eventually. You could say the same for Salernitana. So that kind of you gotta have to be scoreboard watching, because that could also play into the mentality of playing catch up throughout the season.
Yeah.
And there's still, like you said, a long ways to go. I set the points tally for the salvation at around 44 or 45. That should be enough for survival. So as it stands right now, Cittadella need about 18 more points. So that's 6 wins. 6 wins in their last how many games they have left? 14 games. 6 wins in the 14 wins. They should be good. That's no big deal, right? That's easy.
Well, easy, really.
We'll see. All right. Well, Enrico, I'd like to say thank you once again for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you for me too. I'm very sorry for my terrible English, but thank you very much. Thank you very much for your company and for your passion about Cittadella.
Yeah, well, no need to apologize for the English, because I struggle with my Italian all the time, so it's no big deal. But why don't you tell people where they could find your work at PadovaOggi, as well as Gazzetta on socials as well, if that's available for you?
Yeah, in the social with Nelio on 1969 on Instagram. And I'm not very social. I'm very rare about that. But on Instagram and on Twitter with Enrico Leo, it's very simple. You can keep me. You can eyes on Twitter with my information, with my news. Okay.
All right. Well, that is Enrico Leo, as well as you could find his work on PadovaOggi.it, as well as Gazzetta, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, but in the newspaper of Gazzetta, not online. So
yes.
only in the newspaper.
Correct. And for me, you could follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, CittaCalcioUsa, as always, as well as CittaCalcioUSA.com for news, articles, match previews. We apologize for the lack of news coverage in these recent days. We've been very busy with other stuff, but we're going to be getting back to it pretty quickly, so stay tuned for that. We will see you next week, recapping the Pisa Cittadella game on upcoming Saturday, the 8th. We will keep you updated on that, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, everyone, for listening. From me and Enrico Leo, this is the CittaCalcioUsa show. We will see you later, and as always, Forza Citta. Thank you for listening to the CittaCalcioUsa show. If you liked it, please share and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at CittaCalcioUsa. See you next time, and remember, Forza Citta.